Hey, to whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worry. I get it.
Welcome back. This is episode 7, and here's the lineup.
Why don't Republicans protest more?
Hey, good morning, family. So we're just standing out the gate. They shut down the...
Gen Z, my generation, I think is honestly the worst generation.
Folks, imagine what we can do next.
Let's get into it.
Why don't Republicans protest more? And I am asking this in like a sociological sense, like a psychological sense. Why is it that more left-leaning progressive issues are actively protested for, like in the street protesting? We saw some protests around the COVID vaccine, the truckers in Canada, but they don't take to the streets nearly as much as people do over more progressive issues. Why is that?
Hey, you asked some great questions. First, you ask, why don't Republicans protest more? Well, it's because we don't let our feelings dictate our lives. See, we don't get bent out of shape over every little thing that happens. Nah. Sure, when something crosses the line, we'll respond. Like when the protesters tore down the American flag at UNC and then put up a Palestinian flag, well, that crossed the line. The problem was solved, and now a lot more American flags are coming out. Plus, you asked, why don't we take it to the streets? That's also a simple answer. It's because we work. We have jobs. We can send our message in different ways. Just ask the people over at Bud Light. The bottom line is this. Republicans don't go irate or nuts out in the streets like you guys do. No, we grew out of throwing temper tantrums long ago. We grew up, we matured, and we act like adults. Maybe one day, you will as well. Maybe. Thanks, liberals. Welcome to our channel. Thanks, liberals. If you like this video, give us a like. If you're new here, please make sure you're subscribed and click notifications for when new videos are uploaded. Now on to more liberal thinking.
Hi, good, how are you?
What's your name?
My name's Lillian.
It's nice to meet you. Why are you here today?
I'm here in support of the students, and I think that it's really important that everyone who stands with Palestine and Gaza right now is also standing with these students who are, leading the way in the U.S.
How do you feel about them taking over the building right now?
I think that their cause is a just cause, and I hope that the administration really hears their demands. I think they're just demands.
Do you feel like it was right to hold 3 of the janitor workers hostage inside of the building?
I think that's a really false narrative.
That's what the janitors are saying, that they weren't allowed to leave.
I think that that's a really false narrative.
Even if the janitors are saying that, you're saying that that's not true.
I think that it's a really false narrative that the students took anyone hostage.
How do you feel about some of the Jewish students saying that they don't feel safe here on campus?
I think that this is also a really false narrative that's being promoted.
Do you think October 7th and the attack that happened is a false narrative? Do you believe that some of the women were raped?
My colleague just came back.
So this is what happened.
Can you get out of my face, please?
So this is what you see at these protests. Once you get into the nitty-gritty of what happened on October the 7th, the rape of women, what's happening there, they deny what happened. As you know, that is actually factual now, that the janitorial workers were blocked inside of the building. And anytime you bring that up, the Jewish cause, the Jewish people, the kids that feel unsafe on campus, they deny the reality of it, guys.
I've waited my turn here. I followed protocol in the New York City Council and haven't spoken out because I respect this chamber. I have to tell you, I'm still shaken to my core. I'm upset, I'm angry, but I'll tell you honestly, I'm actually somewhat pleased at what we saw here today. If you're wondering why I'm saying that, is because for the last few weeks, we've heard from people who said, we don't dislike Jews. We only dislike the state of Israel. We have no problem with you. We simply don't want you to go to Israel. But we know that's not really at the core of what they were saying, and today they proved it. While we were discussing a resolution regarding the murder of 1.1 million human beings, I will point out that 90% of whom were Jewish, but the other 10% were political dissidents, they were Jehovah's Witnesses, they were gays. Those were the people who were being killed together in Auschwitz-Birkenau. While we were discussing that, they had the nerve, the chutzpah, the temerity to unfurl a Palestinian flag and to yell at us while we were discussing that. And so the reason I'm pleased is because we can stop pretending that this is about Israel when the reality is that every Middle Eastern country that is in existence today is not democratic and persecutes people of other faiths and persecutes gays and persecutes people who disagree with them and persecutes people on Twitter and persecutes women who drive, except for one country, which is the state of Israel. And so what you saw here today was naked, blind, anti-Semitism. That's what you saw, and that's what you watched, and that's what you witnessed. People who are upset for one reason. Do you want to know why they're angry? Do you want to know why they're unfurling that flag today? Because Hitler did not finish the job. He only wiped out half of my family, and only by the grace of God is the other half, me, the grandchild, still alive today. That's why those people are upset. Shame on them. Shame on them for hating Jews. Shame on them for hating people. Shame on them for disrespecting the most diverse, democratically elected body in the United States of America. And that's why we go to Israel. We go to Israel to make a message that is clear, that we will not be cowered by this fear and by this hatred that we have, where these are people who would celebrate the death of Jews rather than mourn the death of innocents. I am embarrassed at what happened here today, but I am pleased that we finally see what this is all about. Good old-fashioned anti-Semitism. Thank you.
You know, I'm not Jewish, but I'm human, and I care about humanity. Liberals are just dead wrong on this issue. And what's interesting, almost all of my liberal Jewish friends and neighbors have now turned conservative. They went to bed on October 6th as a liberal and became a conservative on October 7th. These are challenging times, and if you were moved by this video, please share it with your friends and family. Get the word out. We're not going to take their nonsense anymore. The liberal mindset is being exposed for what it truly is: hate. Liberals love to hate. Enough is enough. Thanks, liberals.
40 hours a week makes me $2,000 a month, and my rent is $1,660. So not only do I not have any extra money, but just working makes me so exhausted that I don't have time either. Like, I get off work at 5:30, come home, and I'm just so tired. Anything that I need to do outside of work, I then just push off to like the weekend, and I'm like, I'm just too tired to do this after work. I'll wait until Saturday. So then I end up with so much to do on the weekend that ends up having to be split into 2 days. So I have to do stuff on both Saturday and Sunday.
Gen Z, my generation, I think is honestly the worst generation. I just got off work, I'm in my car and I'm scrolling, and I see yet again another girl in my generation crying about how she doesn't want to work. Now, don't get me wrong, I know inflation is crazy, and I know that jobs aren't paying you as much as they should to keep up with inflation. However, everyone needs to work an 8-hour day, 5 days a week. That's literally life, okay? I think the problem with my generation stems from everyone started working a lot later than other generations previously. I started working when I was 14, but a lot of people my age didn't start working until they finished college, honestly. And I think that's a big problem. So I think part of it is like they're not used to working, but everyone works 8-hour days, 5 days a week, full time. That's how it is. And life isn't fair.
Yep, adulting is hard. Life's hard, but it's also wonderful. The second woman has it figured out. She really hit the nail on the head. This generation is too soft. They've never had to do without. They don't know what it means to have humble beginnings. They want it all, and they want it now. Plus, they don't want to work, just play. Sadly, it's not their fault. Their parents caused this. They overindulged and pampered these kids for far too long, and now that they're going out on their own, they hate it. And lastly, these are the people that will be voting this coming November. They're clueless. These liberals don't know anything about life. All they know is that Trump is mean and that Biden will remove their student debt. God help us. Thanks, liberals.
Now you start to see it. Look at these numbers. Trump advantages on all of these traits.
And I stop here because competent and effective, that was President Biden's, the crux of his campaign pitch back in 2020.
It's also true right now, Mr. President, that voters by a wide margin trust Trump more on the economy. They say that in polls. And part of the reason for that may be the numbers. And you're aware of many of these, of course. The cost of buying a home in the United States is double what it was when you look at your monthly costs from before the pandemic. Real income, when you account for inflation, is actually down since you took office. Economic growth last week, far short of expectations. Consumer confidence, maybe no surprise, is near a 2-year low. With less than 6 months to go to Election Day, are you worried that you're running out of time to turn that around?
We've already turned it around. Look at the Michigan survey.
Well, Mr. President, you're wrong. More and more people are waking up to your failed policies. The numbers prove it. They're not good for you. And the current economy is not good for us. Bottom line, you and your liberal administration suck at leading our country. It's time to step aside. The border is a mess, inflation is out of control, and public safety is down. Sure, ask about the latest Michigan report, because American people will be asking, am I better off today or 4 years ago? See, this November, the people will vote their answer. Thanks, Liberal Joe.
How dare you?
Need this nugget of encouragement. Things will be alright, so quit your worry. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, no, you'll stand tall. Sit and watch from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games we play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude knowing it'll be over soon. Ever need a boost, count on me for the 1-2. Trouble don't